Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Robot Attack. My name is Scouters15, and today I'm still with Smokinace007, or just Smokinace, as usual, talking about what we played last month, as usual. Somehow this podcast is still existing. No. So, yeah, how's everything going? We talk about games we played last month and usually pick a new topic, is I guess what the theme we're doing lately is, trying to add to it of different conversations, so we'll talk about that later. So how's it going, Smoking Ace? What's new? What's hip? What's happening?
Not too bad. I'm doing pretty well. Played a few decent amount of games last month, so I've got some good content to talk about, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know how this is. I think you're gonna just take on the bulk of this conversation because I think literally I messaged Smoking Ace and I was like, save me, please save me. I am playing too much of this game and we'll talk about it. I don't want to spoil anything.
Hey, it was a good game. I can't fault you for it.
No, it's so. Anyways, so let's start. What games have you played the month of February? Go.
So the biggest one, the one that I would say most proud of, because I've wanted to play it for a long time, was I finally finished up Undertale, and that's a game that I've wanted to play for many years. I just never got around to it, and I had bought it when, as we had talked in the last one, when I got Cuphead. So I wanted to play Cuphead first, beat that on stream, and then I moved on to Undertale, and instantly just fell in love with it. I've always enjoyed kind of the JRPG, turn-based, kind of story-driven role-playing games, and this one, at first no, I don't even want to say at first it seems like your run-of-the-mill game, because from the beginning it's already completely different. The encounters with the enemies are mostly random, like kind of like an old style RPG, like the old Final Fantasies or Legends of Dragoon or some other games like that, where you have random battles, but the fighting mechanics are completely different. So for every enemy, you have the possibility to spare them, and for a lot of them, you have to do different things to be able to spare them. You can obviously fight every enemy you want. You can kill them, and then you get experience, and you level up and everything. So one guy had jumped in my stream, and he said, "Oh, I see you've killed some people." And I was like, "Wait, how do you know?" And he said, "Because you're not level 1." And I'm like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense." But one of the unique things about the game is you can go through the entire game without killing anyone, or you can go through the entire game killing everyone, or you can do a mix of both. So it's so interesting, and every boss fight, it's not just your typical, oh, this boss is weak to lightning, so you hit him with lightning 10 times and you win. Oh, block one time, whatever. There's mini games within every fight and every battle encounter that you take. So it just, from the beginning, I didn't want to put the game down. I had a hard time stopping the streams that I had with it because it was so good. And I know I'm way late to the party, and anybody listening is going to go, "Oh man, I beat Undertale, 10 years ago." Well, hey, I would have been, in the wash with everyone and everything, but now I can talk to you about how that experience felt to you that many years ago, and you can think about it again, and you can look at it in a new light. So that is number one, I would say, for the month, definitely. But it was a heck of a number one for sure. I didn't think that I would play the game again, but there's a very good chance that I will play that game again, a few more times. It's so good.
All right. No. I mean, hold my beer, Smoking Ace. Have you not heard in the last podcast? I got it for the first time. So no, I'm behind. I mean, I agree. I probably haven't played. Well, I played Portal for the first time, like, I don't know, let's say 6 years ago. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up Steam right here. When did I buy Portal? I didn't. So I'm behind too. Like it's those are the essential. Like we talked about. I think our first podcast was like top 100 games we should play, and I feel like that is one of them. I mean, but so as long as you play it, there's no time limit. You know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And like I said, that you can reignite that conversation at a later point. Like I first played Portal when I bought the orange box for PS3.
Yeah.
And I still think that the orange box is one of the best gaming purchases I've ever made in my life. There was just so much there. You got 5 games.
Yeah.
Because you got Portal, Team Fortress 2,
Fortress 2.
Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2.
Yeah.
And, I mean, anybody who's been gaming for more than, 5 minutes has most likely heard
of any of those.
Well, that, but also have heard the saga of, when's Half-Life 3 coming? I mean, the biggest reason that people really want Half-Life 3 is because Half-Life 2 was such a good game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I played Portal, that many years ago, and then Portal 2 came out, and now when you were streaming it the other day and I was watching, I was like, man, I kind of want to go back and play Portal again.
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember all these puzzles, or has it been long enough that I've got to get back in there and relearn them? So yeah, I mean, people playing games at a later point is always fun and interesting because I had some people drop in my stream for Undertale that were like, oh, which run are you going? Because like I said, if there's kind of 2 ultimate runs, so to speak, where it's the pacifist run where you don't kill anyone, and then there's the genocide run where you attack and kill everybody. So it wasn't some new game that I was discovering with other people. People could come in and experience it again with me, and that was just something that was really cool. And to be able to share that with them, while they're sitting there going, ha ha ha, I know this is about to happen. Let me watch it unfold for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So, every gamer's behind the times on at least 1 or 2 games. Some of us more than others.
Oh yeah, 100%. Too much. It's not popping up either when the time I purchased. But I want to say it was within the last 10 years, and that it was released in 2007, and so like, yeah, it's been at least a good 10 years after the release date that I actually played it. So like. No, I'd say even 5 years I bought Portal. I don't think it was that long ago, but I thought there was a way to see when I purchased it, but I guess not.
Probably in some roundabout
way.
Crazy way.
But no, like I said, my friend bought Undertale for me, and literally as I mentioned last podcast, is like I'm nervous to play it because I just don't want to be like, is this really all the hype is? Like, I just know it's just... I've seen bits and pieces, and every time I go on your stream last month, I was like, why must you play this? I can't... I mean, I know gist of Undertale, but I don't know enough to be like... And that's... I mean, you saw me play Portal 2 this month, and so we're, you saw me struggle with some of those puzzles, and that's what is so great. You just come back a year after you played it last, and you're like, I forgot everything. Whereas, like Portal, that's why I played Portal 2, because I was like, well, at least Portal 2 I haven't played, and I don't even know how long. And even when I did, the game is way longer than Portal 1, so even if I remembered some of the puzzles, it doesn't matter. As you saw, I did remember some of the puzzles, and then some of them I just was like, oh, okay, how do I do this again? And unfortunately I didn't play the whole game on stream because otherwise it would have been forever, and as I said, I had to do something else, so but I understand. Undertale, I need to figure it out. So yeah, anything else this month that you besides Undertale. So would you say Undertale, as of today, is the number one game you played this year? You think, so far? I mean, I know you got Final Fantasy next month, so I mean, it'd be Undertale for at least 2 months.
Yeah. I would say yes.
Yeah.
It easily made it in my top 10 games.
Wow. Of all the Final Fantasies?
I'm sorry?
I said even on top of all the Final Fantasies?
I don't know. Like, it's in a different realm.
Right.
Like, it is that turn-based style, that RPG, that kind of easy, easy to get into, hard to master sort of game. And if you don't like turn-based, it's not. I think it'll draw you in because it does have those, like I said, it's kind of like little mini games almost. Like, I would say some of the battling system is almost like a phone game in a way. And once you play it, I think you'll understand what I mean by that. But just the uniqueness of it, and uniqueness doesn't always make a game the greatest ever. Like, I really enjoyed Death Stranding. I haven't beaten it yet. That's one that I've kind of been playing off and on. And I really enjoy the game. And it is very unique. But at least so far, Kojima has some really good storytelling. That's one of the things I've always been drawn to. And the gameplay is pretty unique, but it still kind of bases itself off of a lot of other things. And, that uniqueness, it plays into a factor of how good the game is, but it doesn't necessarily make it the greatest game ever or the worst game ever. So for that, for Undertale, its uniqueness definitely added to it. The bits of story that you get and just kind of the feeling that you get in these games, it's unlike just about any other game that I've played. And I have a hard time getting engrossed in the story of a lot of games because sometimes, the characters are just too outlandish or they're too, something where I enjoy playing it, but I don't necessarily feel that bond or feel that kind of draw to really want to know more about these characters. But Undertale really grabbed hold of that, and yeah, I would say it's definitely the best game that I've played this year. And it holds a spot in my top 10 for sure.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Now I'm really tempted to play it now. Thanks. It's good motivation because I need to play it.
Yeah, and on top of that, it just like I've said about other games before, it's not a game for everyone. It's not one of those. I think everybody should try it. Right. I think everybody should play it. Right. But not everybody has to love it.
Just like me and the Stanley Parable.
Yeah, and you got me to play that, and I enjoyed it a lot.
But it's not in your top 10. No, I understand.
But I can see why you enjoy it so much, and I'm glad that I've played it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a bad game in my opinion, but it's not on my top list.
Oh no.
But I think that everybody should check it out.
Yeah.
I know. Podcast over. I'm sorry. I'm kicked off. Never welcome back.
No. I mean, I haven't played again. I haven't played Final Fantasy, any of them. So
yeah, and those are games that definitely, everybody should try at least one of them. But if you don't like it, I'm going to be a little disappointed. But I'm not going to, say, "Oh, your opinion's wrong," because that's just. Silly.
I'm going to say your opinion is wrong about the Stanley Parable, but there's nothing I could change about that. No, because I'm friends with you. I could say that. And you won't be mad, but like I was like pretty much like anyone I'm like, have you played it? No. Well, I just bought it for you. Now you kind of have to. So and that's probably what's going to happen with the Ultimate Edition as well, depending on how good it is. But
that scenario sounds very familiar.
Yeah, no. So of all the Final Fantasies, right? What? Oh, trust me, you're not the only one I bought it for. What What Final Fantasy would you say would be the best for someone who has never played that?
That's an interesting question.
I know.
So,
It's like I get paid.
So a
through
big
this
factor. My favorite. I'm sorry.
No, nothing. I'm just being snarky.
My favorite one, and nostalgia plays heavily into this, is Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the first, I would say, big ticket games that I played and that I beat as a younger lad. I had played plenty of games on Super Nintendo. I'd played Mega Man X, I'd played Donkey Kong Country, Tetris, just a ton of Super Nintendo games, and I'd played all these, and I'd beaten some of them, and I'd beaten a good amount of them, and, then we got a PlayStation from my brother's friend, and he had a bunch of games with it, and one of them was Final Fantasy VII. And that's, like I said, one of the first games that as a gamer that had substance to it, I played it and I beat it. And I was like, oh, wow, look, I did something. And I, was able to find a lot of the things, like a lot of the summons and some of the weapons and stuff like that. I never 100%ed the game, but I beat it from start to finish, and it was a good, multi-hour game, tens of hours put into it. I couldn't tell you what my first playthrough completion time was, probably 40 plus hours, I don't know. But, so for me, 7 is the best. But if a lot of people talk about Final Fantasy X because it's the first Final Fantasy that has voice acting in it. So if you aren't, the kind of person that likes kind of the reading and the text base, and you've got to read all the story to get you got to read all the dialogue to get all the story and stuff like that, then I wouldn't say, Final Fantasy 1 through 9, I would say go to 10.
Right.
But I'm not a huge fan of 10. I do want to play it again because I can't remember I don't think I ever beat it. I got to one part that's near the very end that a lot of people talk about that's very annoying with all these platforms and stuff, but I never beat it. But I really enjoyed 12. 11 is an MMO, so I don't really count that one as far as, if you want to get into Final Fantasy, play Final Fantasy 11, because it, like I said, it's an MMO. Not that it doesn't have a story, but I never played it. But 12 I really enjoyed a lot more than 10. And then 13, that's another one of those ones that I played it for a while, but that one they made it a little too linear. And what I mean by that is, one thing that was always cool about Final Fantasy is once you started to unlock these other characters, you got to choose your party. So you could swap all these people out, and you could level this person up or level this person up. And sometimes they would force you to use certain characters to move the story along. But with Final Fantasy 13, it wasn't... I remember reading... It was so crazy. I remember reading a preview for the game in, I think it was like Game Informer or something, before it came out. And they talked about that, and they said you don't get to choose your party until about hour 20. And I remember I was playing it, and I got to the first part where you could actually choose your party, and I think I was at like 21 hours or something. I was like, holy cow, this game just stays very linear. And I didn't like that about it, because Final Fantasy was always about exploring and kind of seeing what party works best for you and stuff. But it made sense to the story, the characters that you used. I know I'm getting way off topic here.
That's okay.
We've never done that before.
No, never.
Podcast.
Never. This is the
But
first.
So if my answer has multiple parts. I know it's kind of cheating.
I knew what I was diving into.
So if 7 is my favorite of the Final Fantasies that I've beaten. And I say that because I've beaten Final Fantasy 1, I've played 2, I don't think I ever beat it. I've played 5, I've played 6, I've beaten 7, I've beaten 8, I've beaten 9, I played 10, I've beaten 12. Oh, no, I think 12 is another one that I didn't beat. For some reason, I just never got around to beating it. 13 I beat, and 15 I beat. So out of all the ones that I've beaten, I would say 7 is my favorite, definitely. So I'm going to push people heavily towards 7. Like I said, nostalgia plays a lot into that. Because at the core game, it's a fairly simplistic game, but there's some really cool things you can do with the materia system and all that. But that's also the first one that's in 3D. So if you don't... So for someone who, wants an easy to pick up, fun to play Final Fantasy, I would say go with 7. If graphics are not an issue at all and you're fine with the kind of top-down, like 8-bit sprite kind of character and graphics and stuff, 6 is... I have actually plans for a stream later in this year for playing 6 and trying to beat that in a certain amount of time. But I've heard really good things about that, and from what I've played, I really, really love that one, and the story is great. So I would say for someone who the graphics don't really matter to them, they don't need 3D, they don't need voice acting, they don't need any of that, I would say start with 6. And then if you just can't stand, the old style graphics, and you have to have voice acting, and you have to have, just those visuals and stuff, I would say play 12 first. And then if you want an action RPG, play 15, but I don't consider that the same.
Nice.
So yes, what my gut says 7, but story-wise, I would say 6. And then if you want the visual and the voice acting, go with 12.
Nice. All right, good to know. I'll jot that down. Is there? So what? Sorry, we kind of. What are the games? We got sidetracked. Wow, what a shocker. What other games you played last month?
With that,
Just Undertale, mostly.
It was mostly Undertale, which that one just, like I said, it blew my mind so much. I just could not put that game down. I played some more Pokemon, not a whole lot, but we've already talked about that one some. I did play a little bit more Death Stranding. One game that I got back into that I really need to finish, and it has I can't remember if it already came out or if it's coming out. It has a kind of special edition of it coming out, but Persona 5. I think that one already came out, but that's wrong. Not the right Persona 5 Royale release. That one, it's another RPG. Shocker, I know.
Wow.
It's another big time RPG. But that game is incredible. The only reason I never finished it before is because I got sidetracked, as I do with a lot of games. But that one, the story's fantastic. The fighting system is incredible. The characters are great, and they're very real. You can definitely relate to many of the characters, or someone that is very similar to some of the characters. It's very easy to get engrossed in that game. I think within the first hour of that game, my jaw had dropped at the story. And like I had mentioned before, that doesn't happen very often. because, like I said, most games, my suspension of disbelief is a little bit harder because, like I said, it's so over the top or it's whatever. But you can really feel for these characters, and that's a great game. Getting back into that, I do want to finally finish that one because it is so good, and that's another one that I recommend everybody to play, but it's definitely not for everyone because it is a turn-based game as well. But that's a fun one. That's absolutely a fun one.
Cool. Well, good to know. Yeah, I just looked it up. It looks, I don't know. Yeah, I definitely have to read into it more before I decide. But yeah, it's good. So we won't go over what I played this month at all because.
What did you play this month, Scout?
No, don't do it. Roller Coaster Tycoon.
What? I remember that one. What's that game about?
God. Literally, I sunk so many hours last month, and I apologize. I know I talked about it last month, and I just am diving deep in it like I did when I was younger, and it's just sinking me in like just the good old days of just, like I said last podcast, just play it in the background. You could just watch videos or whatever. It's basically. I thought of this too. It's like basically the first cookie clicker game, if you think about it, because you're like, okay, because I know believe it or not, there are some strategies behind Roller Coaster Tycoon. Believe it or not, like you have the entrance for free, and then you charge the rides is one tip. You could keep that one, and then there's other ones that are just so silly. Like I know, and like I said last time, I beat the game already, so my goal is like I need to beat it again on this computer, and then you're like, okay, this line has nobody in it. Okay, I need to lower the price. Oh, this line has a lot of people. I need to raise the price. Okay, people are complaining about the path being disgusting because people are throwing up on it. Okay, I gotta hire handyman or lay it out that this handyman has controlled this area. Oh, by the way, your ride just exploded. Good luck with that, because now you're gonna have a decrease in people coming to your park. And secondly, like luckily enough, one of my rides just crashed, but it had nobody on it, so I was like, oh, thank goodness. And then another time it crashed, a different ride crashed, and it had only 2 people on that one, so I was like, okay, that's not as bad, but... Oh yeah, and by the way, it just keeps adding, and you just keep going back, and you're like zooming around the map, like, okay, what do I need to do? And it just sinks you in. And I'm just really surprised that it's not like my number one most played at this point. Because my God, I just sunk hours and hours the past month into it, and it's just ridiculous. I need help. It's just so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like if
you know someone suffering from game addiction, please call.
Please call. Like literally, I'm looking at it right now. Like it's only like it's actually below Portal 2 by 2 hours.
Scouter focus.
Sorry, I need to.
Look away from the screen.
It's just great.
Don't click it.
I would say it's a great game. If you haven't played it, where have you been for the last 20 years? I'm
just waiting to hear the main menu music in the background. Is that your phone ringtone now?
Probably. Like literally, it's like it's 2 hours below Portal 2. It's 51 hours on record. My highest game is 197. So
that's not too awful.
Yeah,
that's little more than a work week. That's not bad.
Yeah,
I have plenty of games that I've put many more hours into than that.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I was just playing Persona earlier today, and or yesterday. Yeah, I was playing it last night, and I think I saved at like 56 hours or something. So I mean, you're fine.
Yeah. So I actually thought of it like the other day. I was like, all right, I need to take a break because it just, as much as I love that game, it's just very, I guess, samey after a while. So like, you definitely just need to. All right, I need to take a break for a little bit because, like, it's just hours of it being in the background and like, okay, I can't focus on this game. That like, it's a long game for one scenario. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's at least an hour or two for depending on the scenario. Like it's like I could use that 2 hours doing stuff. But like I said, put it in the background. Watch some videos, but then all of a sudden, all of a sudden your line is short, and you need to figure it out. But yeah, I need to
put it on, catch up on your favorite podcast.
Luckily I got to the breaking point of I need a break from this game right now. So
all right, everyone, it's okay. He's pulled himself out of the void. It's
a little bit
for now.
For now, it'll probably be a month that I'm gonna just sink into it again. But yeah, that's basically what I played. I know. Yeah. All right, so I know. So another thing we wanted to talk about is I thought of this idea. All right, that what is a game that you would create if, like, let's say you had the money, you had the developers ready to go to make it, you get a little bit of profit of it, maybe, work with them to be like, yeah, I need this right. You get a little cut of the profit, but obviously they do. But so what game would you create if you could? Go.
So something that I've always wanted. It's not a very, I don't want to say it's not a very new idea, but it's kind of a new idea-ish. But it's been done in a roundabout way. But I want an Assassin's Creed type game that's set in a modern setting. Now, I know they could never pull this off because it'd be too difficult to do it without getting in trouble, with real world figures and stuff. Because the Assassin's Creed games, you dealt with very old, long dead people and things like that. So you didn't have to worry about, George Washington's in this. Well, his family's going to sue because you're not portraying him right. Or, you're trying to, you're trying to insinuate that you're going to kill the leader of this country or thing of, some little country over in whatever city. But I've always wanted something like that where it's more of a cityscape. So, whereas in a lot of the Assassin's Creed games, you're in a city, but it's an older city. There's just stone buildings and stuff like that. But I want that, but kind of in a modern setting. So you've got to blend in with, maybe an office building or something. So it's just a little change of scenery, and you've got to work your way to the elevator to maybe get upstairs, or you've got to work your way to the stairwell, and you've got to hide, and you've got to watch out for security guards and things like that. And like I said, I know this kind of game has been done in other fashions. First thing that comes to mind is kind of almost like Dishonored or something like that. But I want it more modern than that. I want it to be modern day New York or modern day Beijing or something where you're walking down a paved street at times. So kind of like a Grand Theft Auto, but not just sort of that free will, just kind of running around doing whatever. Having of a cohesive story to it or something. But I mean, I don't too much in the way of detail of it, but I just always thought that would be kind of a fun little thing. That or like Skyrim in a modern city, but still with old-timey weapons and spells.
That sounds cool. Yeah.
I'm not very creative.
No. I mean, to be frank, I was thinking about this. I thought of a good one recently, and then I was ready to write, and that's when I messaged you, and I should have wrote it down in that message, but I kind of forgot it. But I kind of like the idea of kind of like so my idea, I had one idea for sure. So is kind of like Prison Architect style, but like so top down. Top down game that it was kind of like RimWorld and all this other stuff, like top down game, but it's a city building, right? And you could build stuff inside of it, like so you could build like a library, and you could put specifically how you want to lay it out, so like the books and stuff, and the cash register or whatever, and etc. The roads, and then the school, how you want it laid out and stuff. So I guess that's my idea of, and obviously, I'd feel like you would only need one floor, because if you build multiple floors, then it'd be very hard to do that on a top-down kind of game, but so like you only get one floor, but you could, or like a bank, you could design it how you want, or you could say, hey, this is what the layout is like, but multiple levels, something like that. I don't know. Again, this is why we have developers that do this idea for both of our games.
I mean, it makes sense, something that was really cool, kind of playing off of that is, did you ever play Simcopter or Streets of SimCity?
I probably did, but like Simcopter, but I would have to go into it again because it's been too long. I want to say I glimpsed at it, but like I want to say like I had that box, and but I don't know if I ever played it, to be frank with you.
It was so good. Both of those games were great, and one of the best. So basically, for Simcopter, you were a helicopter, and you flew around a city, and you did things. You would put out fires, or you would help with traffic jams, or you would help with whatever, and you could get out of the helicopter and run around and kind of do the same things, sort of. But one of the best parts about it is you could upload your SimCity 2000 files, and you could fly around the city that you built.
That is amazing.
Same with Street SimCity. Right? It was so good, and I don't know why they haven't done more with that, since we have so much more technology and stuff.
Wow.
But, I think taking that idea and applying it to your idea, where it's, okay, it's SimCity, but I can go down to the ground level, and I can, like you said, design this police station. I can design the prison over here, just like Prison Architect. You can design a school, you can design a hospital, you can design these little elements within your city. I think that would be really awesome. Make a park however you want it. Set up a park. Heck, they had Zoo Tycoon and those kind of games. You can build the zoo within your city. And
it's like only if they had a recent release of that game of some kind.
No idea what you're talking about.
Sorry.
But I think your idea would be really awesome, because it just gives you that much more, insight and control into how your city works. They already have it in SimCity where you can follow different civilians and stuff. In City Skylines and SimCity, you can click on a person and you can just watch them through their daily life. They go to work, they go home, they go here, they go there. So why not let's take it a step further, and they can go into their house that you built for them, or they can go into the grocery store that you built, and they can go pick the milk out from where you put the milk, refrigerators and stuff like that. I think that'd be really awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like it's like that's also why I love. I'm going back Roller Coaster Tycoon, is that you could legit follow somebody, ride their ride, like just got Smokinace is on, this ride, and you can name them, and it's like, oh man, 2001. But I guess that's not as different as Sim Tower or Project High Rise. That's somewhat similar in a way of the game I described. So I mean, but that's one specific building, versus multiple buildings. Like,
yeah, and what your idea sounds like is, all of those together in one area.
yeah,
Is what I'm gathering. And correct me if I'm wrong.
no, definitely not. But I would say I wouldn't go to the extent of, well, if you set up the prison wrong, prisoners are going to escape, stab people. Like, I don't want it that detailed. Like,
Fair enough.
like maybe once in a while, like, yeah, okay, crime is happening over here or whatever, then, okay, maybe I need to invest in more police or something.
They do have, they already have the crime maps and stuff. As in those games, they've had the natural disasters, so maybe it just increases the chance of increases the chance of maybe rioting in the street or something if you build a really bad, and you have the option to turn that off, so it's okay, I can build the prison however I want, and it's not going to necessarily affect everything. But if you want it to be more interactive, you can turn that option on and have it. So if you build a prison that has 2 guards and they break out or something, well, now you've got a riot in your street that you've got to go take care of.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that detailed because I feel like your main concept should just be, you know what, I'm going to build a library, and then I don't want to focus on, oh my god, there's like, and maybe even some, it'd be cool, some like political aspects to it, like, oh, this guy got elected, and his policies are like this, but obviously you can't control that, but like, oh, he made a policy like this, and people are upset and are in the streets. How are you gonna, direct traffic or whatever? Like, maybe that aspect of it or something, like, without being too political. But I don't know. It's out there. Someone could pick that up.
It adds that different dimension to it.
Send me that check.
Which is always, like I said, with like I said with Undertale, it does something different. What you're describing, it takes something that already exists, kind of,
right,
but it adds a new spin that gives it that fun factor.
Well, I feel like too, it's like every game has been developed for the most part. Like, is that true or not? Like, pretty much this is already a shooting game. Okay, well, how can we make a shooting game cool? What's the different aspect that we could take? Let's have fictional characters. Okay, that's something different, Like my friend Bomb, there are possibilities that is out there. Like my friend Zach Fierce, who is a maker of Bombfest, who I did a podcast of before. Like, that's a different concept, but it's similar to other games that are out there, and I'm sure he thought of that some way in some form. Like, I feel like that game was a thing in the past, and he just brought it back again. I might have, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't check that podcast out. No, but yeah, like pretty much everything's been already developed. There's already a game with pirates. There's already a game with survival. There's already a game, like, so how do you expand on pirates? Okay, so maybe go in space pirates. Yeah, I was gonna say space pirates. That hasn't been. I mean, it kind of been done, but
I mean, Star Wars is kind of
and Stellaris, I guess you could say.
And I mean, EVE Online. You can be pirates basically in space. So.
Yeah.
But it's how you take
saying.
the ideas that have already been done, but you mold them in a new way.
Exactly. So yeah, we're also kind of talk about like betas as well. So we were talking earlier today, talking about why do you feel, in your opinion, Smokinace, like for instance, if a game's been in develop for 7 years or 10, like, do you feel like that's a bad thing, in your opinion, or?
It's not necessarily a bad thing. Having something in beta build or an alpha build or early access or something can be a good thing. There have been plenty of games that have been released early access, released upon the masses, without having a hard release, and they've listened to feedback, and they've changed things, and they've improved things, and they've made a world of difference, and then they've released and they've been very successful. But a lot of people have just taken advantage of it. And I know that as a concept, taking advantage of people and getting their money is not a new thing by any means.
EA Sports. I mean, what?
As long as there's been a monetary value to things, some people have always found a way to try to get that from other people with minimal effort.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a new concept, but how often do you look at gaming news and you see, Steam just pulled down 200 early access games that were just broken and the developers haven't done anything in 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
So the idea of early access and all of that is great. I love it. It lets people get their hands on a game and kind of mold how it's going to go.
Oh, yeah.
But on the flip side of that, you also have plenty of games where, all right, we have this big game that's coming out June 4th. Well, we're going to release the beta of it on June 2nd, so you can all play early.
Oh.
Okay, that's fun and that's great and all, and I love playing things early, especially things that I'm excited about.
Right.
But in my opinion, the whole point of a beta is to find out what needs to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
If you release that beta 2 days before release, you can't change anything anything major. And the ability to patch things and day one patches and the internet and stuff, it's awesome, but it's also a curse.
Mm-hmm.
For the Super Nintendo, when they sent Mega Man X out, they had to get it right. Because there was no, the Super Nintendo wasn't connected to the internet. The PlayStation 1 wasn't connected to the internet. The N64, you couldn't just send an update. So when you sent that game out, it had to be right.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to put in the time and make sure you got it right. If you release this early build or this beta build of a game just a few days or just a week or something before the game is due out, and you run into this major game-breaking glitch or this major game-breaking issue, you can't fix that as a development team in 2 days. It's just not possible. I've never been on a game development team, but I have a pretty strong feeling that you can't just patch something that's a huge issue in just a couple of days. I mean, we've seen it countless times this year already where games have gotten pushed back by days or even months. I mean, heck, the Final Fantasy VII remake earlier, that was supposed to come out this month. It got pushed back 1 month, which isn't a huge deal, but it's still time that they wanted to put into it. And the biggest one, which I think we've talked some about in earlier podcasts, man, my brain is not working, but Cyberpunk, that one got pushed back months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the whole idea of betas and early access and all of that is great in theory.
Yeah.
But now it just and on another note, if you leave your game in early access, people can't rate it. They can't, review it in its full entirety because you go, this game is really bad and it's broken. Oh, well, it's not our final build yet. We're not completely done with it yet. You can just use that as your excuse, and you don't have to submit it to be rated by the ESRB or anything like that. So it's, just bring up Steam and just put the filter of early access and look how many games are on there.
Let's do that now.
Take a screenshot and then 6 months from now, search Steam, see if any of those games actually made it to release.
Yeah.
The chances are a majority of them aren't. They're either still going to be in early access or they're going to be pulled down because, 200 people spent $10 on that early access game, and then the developer went, "Oh, I made my money. All right, bye."
Bye, Felicia.
Exactly. But I know I was a little fired up about that. What is your opinion on early access and betas and things like
Oh
that?
wow, you think? So I mean, I have some mixed reviews on that. I mean, we talked about it last podcast with Don't Starve Together, Prison Architect, uh, mostly those two games alone. I bought those. Like, Don't Starve Together was just released like last year. Can you believe that? Like a year ago. Like, it's been that long since it was in the process. I bought it like right away too.
Yeah, because that I feel like that's been out for years
No,
at this.
I mean I'll double check it, but uh,
No, I
I
I,
want
I
to.
know you're right. It's just mind blowing how long it's been in that development cycle.
Yeah, but so my thing is right. Release date was 2013. It says, but I feel like they announced it just recently. Like I want to say
Yeah, I think.
I had that game since then for sure. Um, but like, yeah, I would say they just announced like its official release. Obviously, they're still updating it. Like, okay, so long story short, right? Um, I wanna just teach you guys a lesson. All right, I've made mistakes with games. I'll admit it. All right, I'm not perfect, and no one is. All right, Assassin's Creed 4. All right, I bought that before it was released. Right, full price. Right, and I $60 down the drain. Basically, I played it and I was like, I can't. All right, because it just sucked. All right, it sucks so bad. Uh, it was like, oh yeah, Assassin's Creed. Remember those all cool things that you could climb up buildings and do all these cool things? Well, guess what? You need to deliver this guy from point A to point B, but guess what? He can't climb those buildings. He can't do all those cool things that you can do. So good luck, buddy. Like, I literally played like 20 minutes of that game, never played it again. I never will, and it was a waste of $60. I learned my lesson, right? And then I was hyped. I was hyped to the hypest I ever. Well, until the Stanley Parable Ultimate Edition came out. I was hyped between BioShock Infinite, right? I was like, oh my god, this is mind blowing. Like, this is my game. It's steampunk. I mean, yes, it's shooting, and I don't like shooting, but it's just steampunk. There's not really many steampunk games. It just looks gorgeous, and I'm like, John, relax. Remember what happened to Assassin's Creed 4. Remember, all right? I'm like, yes, you're right. This is my past self talking to myself. Yes, you're right. I need to calm down. Need to wait till it's released. Watch 20 minutes of it. All right? Watch some YouTuber play it 20 minutes. If I still like it, and I did, I bought it at full price. And I don't regret it because it's now my number one. And same thing that happened with Don't Starve. Don't Starve Together. Obviously, Prison Architect. All of which they were, I saw gameplay of it. I didn't know anything about those games until I seen gameplay. And then I was like, wow, these games look good. With early access, you need to think, okay, if this is released right now, would it be good? If the answer is yes, then buy it. And that's what I did with Don't Starve Together, and Prison Architect. Those three games were, like, I bought them, and I was like, these are games already. I paid what I paid for them, and they're phenomenal. And at the time, they're phenomenal. And now, with updates, I don't even know what's going on with Prison Architect, or like literally, I launched the game. I literally was texting my friend saying, "Play Prison Architect." They updated so much to it, and I was literally blown away. Like, I've been playing it, a while ago, but like I haven't played it. I would say like for a good 6 months after that.
Yeah.
I played it recently. Like I want to say, let's see. I played it November 21st. So I want to say like 6 months before that, I probably played that like last time. But November 21st, it says, like, I was just blown away with the updates. I was like, whoa, what's all this? They added, new tiles. They added all this other new features. I was like, where have I been? And like I said, I literally texted my friend. I was like, you need to play Prison Architect. So, like, my lesson learned here, and this is what you need to do, is either watch 20 minutes of it. If you like it, then pick it up. And then if you don't, then, yeah. You don't spend money, I would say, tread on water. Even like we said, even with Cyberpunk, like, it seems cool. I seem hype about it, and it seems really fun. But I'm gonna wait a little bit because I know it's gonna be problems. Yeah. I just know it. In my heart, I know it's gonna have problems when it's released. And to be frank with you, I literally, I want to say it was recent, but we could talk about it. I watched Animal Crossing, how they're updating like promoting it, and I was just like blown away, and I'm like, oh my god, I want this game. I'm gonna buy a Switch and buy it just for this feature. Like, you could literally edit the world. I'm like, and I loved Animal Crossing. It's my guilty pleasure of admitting to playing Animal Crossing on the GameCube. It was great. Probably. So, yeah. But again, I need to be like, John, remember Assassin's... But I don't think Animal Crossing would be that bad. But I just say, be careful. Like, wait a week or month. Like, wait for, people. If you see a big array of people complaining about it, then I'll say, okay, I need... Like this happened exactly with SimCity. So I think I mentioned this before. They announced that they're gonna do, hey, SimCity, like, it's great, I was like, yeah, it's great. Oh, by the way, online only. You could only play online. And then everyone got pissed. And I was like, I literally was like, I bet you $5 they're gonna put it offline. I bet you $5. And I picked up the game. Not gonna lie, because there wasn't a city building game since, I don't know, probably SimCity 3000. So I had to get it. Yep. Or like SimCity 4, sorry. SimCity 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I forgot about those. We don't mention those. But yeah. SimCity 4, like, so I had to get it. But I was like, I bet you they're going to release it offline. And sure enough, I was right. And they're like, yeah, you're right. You guys win. We'll do offline as well, and that's probably what got him for him. And I'd say
because from
from those people, upset about it, they bought that game, and they probably all learned a lesson, because do not buy games before they're released. Luckily enough, they went to offline mode. But what if they didn't? You're stuck with probably is, knowing EA is probably a full price game. So I waited till it was on sale and offline. But yeah.
Because from the very beginning, they said, oh well, the way that we have made it, we can't make an offline mode. The way that it's set up,
like,
we absolutely
okay,
can't
buddy.
do it. Yeah, it's like, I may not know everything about servers and stuff like that, but you guys have made non-connected offline games for years.
Yeah.
I think you'll be able to find a way. And then, like
to do it.
Sure enough, took them, but they eventually finally did it, because they realized, all right, maybe people aren't just going to bend to this new all online thing. So
yeah, because you imagine you're at Grandma Wilter's house, right? And of course she doesn't have internet. Yeah, good old Grandma Wilter. She doesn't have internet. She's still living in the 19th century, and I obviously I understand that, because probably my grandma still lives in the 19th century to this day.
Fair enough.
I understand. Why would she need internet? So imagine you're at good old Grandma's Willow's house. Imagine, it's her 80th birthday, and, you're going to spend the night because it's a long drive or whatever. and she doesn't have internet. What are you gonna do with SimCity? What are you gonna do? You're dead. You're gonna be bored to death, and you're gonna play Lincoln Logs. That's what you're gonna do.
Hey, Lincoln Logs are great.
Oh, I'm not hating. I'm just saying that's what your result is gonna be. So
and in the morning, you've built an entire SimCity out
of Legos,
of sewage and power.
Yeah, I mean you could imagine it at least. So that's something.
One more thing that I will say on the early access quickly, because I know we're getting a little bit up in time.
That's fine.
But one thing that I really like, there are a couple games that I have early access to, but with the popularity of Discord and everything, they have their own Discords, and the developers are in those Discords, and they're listening to the people that are playing it.
Mm-hmm.
I might play a little bit more of some of those this month, so maybe I'll be able to talk about them, in the next podcast or something. But it is nice to have that connectivity. Now, these are smaller companies, so companies like EA and DICE and Bethesda and stuff aren't necessarily going to join a Discord and have their developers in there with people. But some of those smaller ones, it is nice because it feels like, okay, they are actually taking care of this game and paying attention to it.
Yeah.
So you can hopefully avoid some of those other ones where, you bought this game early access, you're just waiting for the developers to release it. You actually feel like you can have a little bit of a say in that game. Like I ran into an issue with one of the games when I was playing it before, and I mentioned it in their Discord, and they said, "Oh yeah, well, we've had a couple people say that, so we're looking into it, looking at it, and they got it fixed." So that is a step in the positive direction for early access and those kind of things. But yeah, obviously not every developer is going to do that.
No.
So.
Well, I did the same with Bombfest. I literally, did it. Luckily enough, he was nice enough to give me it for free, but I still supported him on Kickstarter and stuff like that. And I even told him, I was like, by the way, you could have my code. I mean, I already got the game, so if you want to give it to somebody, and I want to thank Zach personally. I thank him all the time for suffering with the podcast like you are every month now. But it's like a cool. I know, right? I don't even pay you. So, and I even gave him some. I said, do you mind if I said something about the game? And he's like, yeah, no, I'm open to it. I was like, the X, Y, and Z, and he's like, well, yeah, I'm definitely, like I brought up to him at the time. It kind of was really confusing what piece was mine, and so I, it'd be more clear if he marked it saying, player one, or saying some sort of color. And he's like, yeah, we are doing that right. We did, nice. We got that and stuff like that. So it's cool that those small developers are very very especially supportive in that.
They know that they have to compete with the big guns in the industry. So if they can have that personal touch, you remember that obviously. How long?
Well, it's like
you're talking about Bombfest and the podcast and stuff like that, and it's been a while now, but you still remember that. You remember that interaction.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Zach play. I support him, and he's still, developing games. And after, obviously, I was like, I keep telling him I owe you big time because no other developer will be on the Scrub podcast to talk about their game. And he was willing, out of the blue. I just messaged. I was like, you know what, roll those dice. And sure enough, he's like, yeah, I'm game. And I was like, okay. Yeah, hell yeah. I will promote and retweet everything and tell my friends about Bombfest and, and stuff like that. And I'm sure whenever his new game comes out, I'm going to promote it as much as I can because, like I said, no other developer would spend 30 minutes on a low-end, lame podcast about their game, But I'm sure they took, I'm sure, yeah, like, he took some of my things, and again, we're not here, I'm not here to, like, obviously, you're not going to make everyone happy in terms of your game. I mean, I could probably pick out things of BioShock Infinite if I really try. Well, probably not. No, I mean, there's things in BioShock Infinite like I actually haven't noticed it, but if you look carefully, like to the fruits, like they're just like painted on, and it's like unless you really look, but like I'm looking past, like you could pick out anything in a game, but
no game is perfect.
No, so still, it's to their credit to even try to get as many feedback as possible, and then especially like change it. Like, okay, a lot of people saying to put this thing on a character, then yeah, we'll do it. Then so it's cool. It's definitely, that's why, again, I love just AAA games. They're just really, very understanding, very, like, obviously, they're always developing the game, and you paid probably cheaper than a normal full price game. So that's what I love, live and breathe, just AAA games. They're just phenomenal. Like all those games, definitely check out Bombfest and other things that I mentioned on this podcast today. They're just phenomenal, and they do no wrong. And Clay and everything. So, anyways, we're blabbering. Thanks everyone. Anything else? You have a 24-hour stream, the 14th. So
That I do. That's coming up.
You need to rest up, and I will. If you guys want, check out Smokinace007 on Twitch. Honestly, hopefully, I'll try to post this before his 24-hour stream. But check him out. 24 hours streaming live for Extra Life. Trying to get that gold medal.
Let's do it. Got one last year, thanks to like Scatter715. Let's get him to this year.
Yeah, let's do that too. Let's both succeed. Like I said, if anybody's listening, if you're gonna donate to one of us, donate to the other one. So that's pretty much the if you want to support this podcast, I'd say donate to our Extra Life. That'd be appreciated.
I can fully get behind that.
either one, we'd appreciate it.
It's why I stream.
So yeah, check out.
That's why I came on this podcast.
Exactly, basically. Check it out. Hopefully, if I get this no promises that I'll get this edited and produced by I'll try my best, but and if not, regardless, just check out. I'm sure you're gonna do another 24-hour stream, so.
Oh yeah. I have at least 3 planned this year, possibly 4. But I'm excited.
So
since I did it last year, I love it. I'm fell in love, and I have something else that I'm excited to explore. But
I think I know a little bit of it
later.
Yeah, I think I know because you hinted at it. All right, so thanks, Smoking Ace, again. Thanks for talking to me, and appreciate it. I really appreciate everyone listening, and you guys are all amazing. I hope you guys appreciate this, and if you want a certain topic for next month, let us know, because we'd love to talk about it. So if there's something on your mind that you want us to talk about, a certain game or an aspect, let us know, because we're definitely running out of ideas, and it's only podcast number 3. No.
Yeah, no, definitely let us know, because I mean, as you can tell, we can talk about just about anything and go off topic with the best of them. So give us some direction to go in, and we'll be happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah. So thanks for watching, listening, whatever you're listening in on, and see you next month. Goodbye.
Take care, everyone.
Love you.
Keep gaming.
Yeah. Okay, goodbye.